Okay, so we just got done going through our question sheets with our customer, right? And we ended on the last question, which was, when were you looking at getting the work done or completed, right? So we asked the last question, we got them to say today, and we wrote down today. Then we repeated the question. So what's going on? When did it happen? What were you doing when it happened? And when were you looking at completing the work today? And we repeat what the customer says to us, okay? Then after that, what we're going to do is say, okay, Mrs. Jones, is there a place we can go ahead and sit down so I can show you a little bit about our company and how our prices work, okay? This is a really odd part of the service call. Very few, if any, home service customers or companies actually ask the customer to sit down to go over some stuff before they even look or start the work. Service today is more professional than any other company. So we do things a little bit different than every other company. If you don't work for Service Today and you're watching this from another company, this part specifically helps build value and trust with the customer. Now, a lot of technicians think, or they want to skip this part because it's awkward and it's uncomfortable. And you're right. At first, when you first start doing this, it will be a little uncomfortable and it will be a little awkward. But I'll tell you what, successful people are willing to do the things that unsuccessful people are not willing to do. I'll say that again. Successful people are willing to do the things that unsuccessful people are not willing to do. Okay? So, if you want to be successful, you might have to do some uncomfortable things. Now, I will tell you that after doing this about 20, 30 times, it's not going to take long, and this won't be uncomfortable anymore. It'll just be part of your service call. If you're a technician and you run 3 calls a day, right? And you work 5 days a week, on average 4 weeks a month, after about 2-3 weeks, this won't be uncomfortable anymore. But at first, yes, it will. But I promise you this does a few things. Number 1, we're sitting down with the customer, right? So we're breaking down barriers. We're now like in a personal relationship because we're sitting down at a table. There's just something about sitting down with another person that creates a different level of communication, a different level of trust, and it also builds a ton of professionalism, all right? Here's the other thing it does. It builds a home. Now, it might not be the table, because we're going to ask the customer for a comfortable place to sit down. Sometimes they don't take you to the kitchen table. They might take you to a couch. They might take you to a countertop. They might, it doesn't really matter where they take you. It's whatever is comfortable for them. Remember, we're there for them, all right? Now, I've had customers that haven't even moved into the house yet. There is no furniture. So I've done this on top of a garbage can or on top of a stove. I've done this on top of a gas grill. I've had to get down on my knees and show the customer all this stuff because they're in a wheelchair and they can't even move to a table. It doesn't matter. Whatever it takes, you're not going to skip this step. Because when you build a home, you're going through all of your pricing and insurance form, book of evidence, and all this type of stuff, which you'll watch in the next video. But technicians will say this is uncomfortable to sit down at a table and go through all this stuff. And they'll say it's awkward. But wouldn't we want to get the awkwardness out of the way so when we go to present price, the awkwardness is gone, right? Because think about this. If we don't sit down now at the table and create a home, then when we want to present our big options or our major repair or replacement, then we're going to be sitting down. So now it's going to be awkward and we're presenting thousands of dollars worth of work. Well, let's split those two up. Let's get the awkwardness out of the way, and then when we come back to sit down and go over options, that part's already over. You've already created a home. If you're down in the basement and you tell the customer, okay, well, let's go on upstairs and we'll talk about what option you want to choose, we already know where we're going. We made a home. But if you don't do this, the customer's gonna be, so what do you want to sit down? Yeah, just a comfortable place, right? And now he's like, oh great, we're gonna sit down, he's gonna tell me options, and this is gonna be expensive, and all these things are going through their mind. But if we just say, can we go back upstairs and sit down and go through options, me and the customer both know what I'm talking about. We're going back to the home we already created. So we need to create a home in the house that's comfortable, and we need to get the awkwardness out of the way. All right? Now, when you walk up to the table, right, statistically speaking, a customer's left side is their weak side, okay? This goes back to medieval days where they had swords in their right arm and their left arm was generally limp, okay? So their right arm is their strong arm and their left arm is their weak side. So we want to sit on their weak side. We want to sit to the left of the customer, or think about it this way, if that's hard to wrap your mind around, you want the customer on your right. And here's how you do it. Remember in earlier videos I told you to leave your bag and your coat at the front door. Now, I don't want you to leave your coat there because I don't want you walking through the house with your coat on. But I'm purposely leaving my bag over there because here's what's going to happen. You and the customer are going to walk up to the table, and two things are going to happen. Either the customer is going to let you sit down first, or they're going to sit down first. So if the customer sits down first and they pull out this chair and they sit down at this chair, you're going to want to sit on that chair because you want the customer to the right of you, okay? But a lot of times what happens is the customer wants to be respectful because hopefully you've made yourself a guest in the home, and we allow guests to sit down first a lot of times. So they'll let you sit down first. Well, now we don't know where the customer is going to sit. So what we say is, okay, Mrs. Jones, well, I'm just going to go grab my bag real quick and I'll be right back. And then you'll go get your bag. When you come back with your bag, more than likely that customer has chosen a spot now, and then you can go ahead and sit to the left of the customer because now they chose their spot. All right? And then you can start going through your book of evidence and your price book. The other good thing is if you're right-handed, it's going to feel more natural, like if you have a pen or use your finger to show them things on your right. If they're on your right, it'll feel more natural to you a lot of times. And it might feel natural because they're on your strong side, right? They're on your right side, and the customers, you're on their weak side. So this isn't a huge deal. Don't rearrange chairs and move a bunch of stuff to get to the left of the customer or having the customer on your right. It's just something, if it's available, go ahead and do it. Does it work? Is it a huge sales tactic? I don't know. I did it. I was pretty dang successful, so I would suggest just doing it. And maybe it makes a difference, maybe it doesn't. But I don't think it'll hurt. Okay?